Anxiety doesn't play favorites. Anxiety comes in different shapes and sizes. Anxiety is a thief of joy. I remember when I was 10, I moved from California to Arizona. No friends, new school. I was the weird out of towner. Regardless of who you are, what you look like, what you sound like, when you're the new kid at school, there's some level of strange attached to you. People know nothing about you, and they're still trying to figure you out, which means you're a mystery. And what they do is they will quickly place judgments on you within minutes of you showing up, just so they can make sense of you. Now, I didn't help myself out the first day of school. I showed up looking like 90s Southern California boy band culture spit me out of its mouth. Like, I looked weird. I rolled up to the first day of school wearing a seashell necklace, a Hawaiian button-down shirt, bleach blonde tips, and those pants that you can zip off at the knee. You probably don't know what I'm talking about, but they were super in, I promise. I looked like the forgotten sixth member of NSYNC. I can vividly remember this moment walking to school in a panic. As I walked into the new school, I experienced something that I have never experienced before. I could feel anxiety creeping up inside of me, ready to take control of every thought that I had. What if no one likes me? What if people think I'm weird? What if I don't fit in? What if I'm lonely forever? These what ifs were racing through my head, and I just wanted to jump out of my skin. I have a suspicion that I'm not alone. If I were to guess, you have had moments where anxiety owns you, and you couldn't help but think through all these different what if scenarios. What if I fail my test? What if my friends leave me out of the chat? What if my parents split up and get a divorce? What if I don't know what I'm gonna be when I grow up? What if I mess up this game or this presentation? What if I don't feel close to God? What if I don't get enough likes or followers on TikTok? What if something bad happens to me or my family? What if anxiety just gets the best of me? Anxiety somehow pops up in every corner of our life, and it just becomes a part of us. Now, anxiety has become a big buzzword in our culture, so I want to be very clear what I mean by anxiety. Anxiety is excessive worry about the future, especially when we feel afraid or not in control. What you need to know about anxiety is that it is different than fear. Fear is real and it's a present danger, while anxiety is more vague, it's speculative, it's anticipatory. Fear says, there's a bear outside my tent. What if it comes closer? Where anxiety says, what if I go camping and a bear attacks me? Here's a heartbreaking reality that I see. While anxiety is a normal experience that everyone has, and it's something I experience right alongside of you, we allow it to take over our lives, and it becomes a part of who we are. It becomes our identity. Anxiety can become your identity when you allow it to define how you see yourself and how you live your life. Instead of just viewing it as an experience, you begin to see anxiety as something that you are. I think there's two big red flags that we need to be aware of that will show us if we have allowed anxiety become our identity. Here's the first big red flag. we speak anxiety over ourselves. I think for some of us, we have unintentionally utilized words to work against ourselves. And we just haven't realized the power those words have in our lives. We say things like, well, I'm just an anxious person, or that's just who I am. Without even knowing it, those words start to take shape in how we see ourselves because words have power. Proverbs 18:21 says this, the tongue has the power of life and death. Your words you speak over yourself can dramatically shift how you live your life. Guess what? God created words as a vehicle for us to connect with Him. I wonder if we leveraged our words to point ourselves towards Him and not our anxiety, how different would our life look like? Here's the second big red flag. We forget our true identity in Christ and what Jesus has to say about us. Whether you believe in Jesus or not, you need to know that you've been created by God with meaningful and life-giving identity. God created you because He loves you. However, we have let anxiety steal our true identity, and we aren't able to see ourselves how God sees us. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says this, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone, the new is here. When we give our life to Jesus, we reclaim our identity in Him, and we no longer have to live a life where our identity is defined by anxiety. There's someone here today that can relate to this. They can relate to anxiety being so present in their life. We feel covered in anxiety. It's a part of us. And you feel like this is just how it has to be. I want to offer you something different. I want to give you an alternative. Here's what your life could look like if your identity wasn't in anxiety, but it was in Jesus. You know that you're deeply loved. You're forgiven of your past. You're a son, you're a daughter of Jesus. You're not an accident. You have an incredible purpose. Your life has intention. You're not defined by your mistakes. You're worthy. You're not alone. You're not forgotten. You have community. You have hope. You have peace. Your anxiety doesn't define you. Jesus wants to remove your anxiety. Jesus wants you to know that you can live in His peace. Jesus wants to remove your identity of anxiety and give you an identity filled with hope. The question is, will you let Him?